Hey guys, how are we doing? Back on another video from Geekdom 101. It's another transformation or forms explanation video, all about the Majin Buu forms. I like these videos. Again, it's never just this is how powerful it is, this is the abilities. There's always like behind the scenes things as well, like why the character looks the way it is, or why they went with a certain direction, or things like that. So let's see what this video has for us, shall we?
So I'm not going to waste any of your time here.
Oh, okay.
We've covered Frieza, we've covered Cell in the transformation guide.
They were quality
we have
videos.
a lot to talk about. So let's just get right into every single transformation of Majin Buu that we've seen in Dragon Ball, explained in the transformation guide right now.
Cool. Transformation guide.
Now, unlike Frieza and Cell, the majority of Majin Buu's transformations come from either the absorption or the expulsion of a character from his body. And we're going to actually start this by discussing the versions of Buu we see in order of appearance.
Okay,
now,
that's cool.
understand that a lot of fan names have been used to name these forms, and some have actually been used in the Dragon Ball Z English dub when they never existed beforehand. So we're going to be talking about the fan-made names and the official names as well.
Okay.
We've got quite a few forms to get to. The first version of Majin Buu that we see is, well, Majin Buu, otherwise known as Fat Buu, and some fans call him Mr. Buu or Good Majin Buu, Majin Buu Zen. And I didn't know this until recently, but I guess some fans refer to him as Mujakina Majin Buu, which is innocent Majin Buu.
Oh, okay.
But it's whatever. It's Majin Buu. You know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
And this version of Majin Buu is the first one that we see when he gets hatched from Babidi's, big sort of egg thing,
yeah,
or whatever you would call it, his weird embryo. He is somewhat of an innocent character in that he's clearly being manipulated by Babidi.
Yeah,
he doesn't really understand the difference between good and evil, or what's right and what's wrong. He's a very sort of confused, childlike character, and it's not until he makes a real friend like Mr. Satan, for example, that he's able to really sort of understand right from wrong, thanks to him actually having a friend. But we do see him do nice things like, heal the blind kid in the anime and things like that we see teasing that he has a good side. But unfortunately, all good things are not meant to last in Dragon Ball Z.
Nope.
This, of course, would be his first appearance in manga chapter 460, Dragon Ball Z episode 232. Then we have where things get really bad, and that is Majin Buu Junsuyaku, otherwise known as Pure Evil Buu, Buu, or Dark Buu, or Grey Buu. Those are all the fan names I've heard of before.
Right.
This version of Majin Buu ends up being born when all of the anger from inside of Majin Buu is expelled out. Very similar to what happened to the nameless Namekian when he expelled out the anger to form Demon King Piccolo and retained himself as who would become Kami. It's the same idea here.
Right.
And it happens because a couple of pricks end up shooting Mr. Satan and his dog, and Majin Buu uses his healing ability to bring them back to life when they were near death. But what ends up happening is this evil Majin Buu
comes out and just starts beating
and
him
ends
up.
up having a fight with Majin Buu. This would happen, of course, in manga chapter 485, Dragon Ball Z episode 255. As they fight, the Fat Buu tries to turn him into food, but he ends up getting that technique reversed on him, repelled. And Fat Buu ends up getting turned into a cookie, and then Skinny Buu eats him, and that would constitute as an absorption. Now, understand that typically when Majin Buu turns you into candy and eats you, you're dead. You're not absorbed, but presumably speaking, because it's Buu versus Buu, Evil Buu was able to take the candy version and absorb it into his own body, creating the next Majin Buu, which was Majin Buuaku, which means Majin Buu Evil. And Evil Buu is the name of the previous Buu as well, but they also call him True Evil Buu, so don't get confused, because it's
True Evil
weird.
Buu,
but one thing you should be aware of is that this version of Buu, Super Buu, that is not a fan name at all. Super Buu is what this character was called in the Dragon Ball Z fighting games, starting with Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22. They call him Super Buu in that game, so it's not a fan-made name at all, but most fans refer to him as Super Buu, even though he is evil Majin Buu. But the gray one was also evil, so it gets confusing. Super Buu is an easier name to remember anyways.
Yes, it is.
But this version of Buu is significantly stronger than Fat Buu and the Skinny Buu. This guy was able to battle Gotenks in Super Saiyan easily. He survived Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, even though it seems like Gotenks could have probably beat him if they had more time. He wipes out everyone at the Kami's Lookout. I mean, the dude is just a beast. He first appears in manga chapter 485 and Dragon Ball Z episode 255. This Buu is sort of buff, but not insanely
He even
buff.
manages to get out of the time chamber just by screaming, doesn't he?
He has no neck, or at least not much of a neck. A very thick neck, which he cracks a lot, it seems. But not only ends up eventually killing everybody except for a couple of people up in the Lookout, but he uses a genocide technique that kills almost every
just
living
wipes
creature
nearly
on
everything
Earth,
out. It's
which
mental.
was completely nuts. First time Toriyama actually went that far with a character to do that, Super Buu was the guy. And Super Buu would not be the last time that Buu enhanced his body, because then we have Majin Buu Gotenks absorbed. Gohan shows up after having his power unlocked from the old Supreme Kai and ends up simply annihilating
Super goes on him,
Buu.
doesn't he?
So Buu had no chance. So what he does is he tricks Gotenks into refusing, and then he has a piece of his body that got ripped off behind Gotenks, and then uses that to absorb him and become even stronger. And remember, now he has Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks power, which is why the antenna on the back of his head is long.
Oh, I never thought about that.
He has not only their power, but now also knows how to use their moves, like the Super Buu Kamikaze attack, his version of Gotenks' move, but his version is, of course, a lot more powerful. In addition to that, he also absorbed Piccolo, and as a result of that, he got all of Piccolo's knowledge when it comes to combat and when it comes to Gohan, which would be very beneficial in the upcoming
Never thought about that either.
Now,
Yeah, makes sense.
understand that whenever Majin Buu absorbs someone, that his body takes on a appearance of the most powerful character he has absorbed. So while the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks fusion was a thing in Majin Buu, he was really powerful. But once that fusion time ran out, he reverts back into being Super Buu, Goten, Trunks, and Piccolo absorbed, and he gets Piccolo's cape, because at this time, individually, Piccolo was the strongest of the three. Obviously, Piccolo was not as strong as the fusion Gotenks. I mean, we know that. But what ends up happening here is, because of the lack of the fusion of Gotenks inside of Buu, he ends up becoming a lot weaker than he was before. But it's interesting that when Goku and Vegeta go inside of Majin Buu later on, you notice there's individual pods for Goten and Trunks.
They'd be in the same one, wouldn't they?
Because you would think there would be one pod.
I never thought about it. That's
because they went in as a fused fighter. So
interesting.
It could just be Majin Buu's power, just you know, his body being what it is. And this, of course, happened in manga chapter 502, Dragon Ball Z episode 267. And at this point, he is strong, but he's not as strong as he was before, and becomes really no match for Gohan. So what do? If you can't beat him, join him. Or better, have them join you. So Majin Buu absorbs Ultimate Gohan, and now we have what is seen by the majority of the fandom as the most powerful Majin Buu in existence. Now, I've already done a video
that was a good video.
Terms breaking down which Majin Buu is the strongest, and we came to a complete conclusion in that video. So watch that video if you want to know about that debate between Kid Buu and this version of Buu. But either way, this is the version of Buu that is insanely strong. He's got the unlimited power of Ultimate Gohan, Goten, Trunks, and freaking Piccolo. And Goku and Vegeta are no match for him until they fuse the Potara's to make Vegito, who is, of course, beyond anything else in the original Dragon Ball manga. But this Majin Buu is great because he uses the Buu Kamikaze attack and can actually have the Kamikaze Ghost fire Ki Blast as well. He's really fast, really strong, and he has the ability to crack the dimensional fabric. Now, obviously, with Super Buu, we saw him do that.
In the time
chamber,
a
portal from the realm of the Room of Spirit and Time into the Earth realm. But here, Majin Buu almost cracked the entire fabric and put the fabric of space-time in danger when he powered up in Dragon Ball Z. So don't underestimate the power of Majin Buu Gohan Absorb is the official name of it. This was manga chapter 502 and Dragon Ball Z episode 267. Now we have reached Majin Buu's final form, which is really his first form, his original Majin Buu, the one that Bibidi conjured up. That is Majin Buu Junsui, which translates to pure Majin Buu. I've seen him called True Evil Buu. I've seen him called Chibi Buu. And of course, Kid Buu is the most commonly used name.
That's what's on the Funko Pop here.
Kid Buu works the same way. This is similar to Gray Buu, And there is a bit of a contradiction here, which I may explain at some point in the future, but he is pure evil, and he sadistically enjoys destruction. He is noted as being the most dangerous
He just
Majin
kept
Buu,
teleporting
but he's not
everywhere,
an idiot.
just destroying all
He
those planets.
learns
Like,
Goku's instantaneous movement the minute that he saw it one time. And we saw
that's
Cell
crazy.
do this too, but that just goes to show that this version of Buu is still a fighting genius, and Goku and Vegeta just can't beat this guy at all without using the Genki Dama, which ends up being the actual victory. And we first see this version of Buu in manga chapter 508
It's a cool design.
and DBZ episode 278 when Buu loses
It looks so intimidating.
all of the characters he absorbed: Goten, Trunks, Gohan, Piccolo,
including
and of course
Buu.
Fat Buu.
Majin Buu,
which
yeah.
again, it's a little weird, but he ends up reverting back to his original form, and he's really, really strong. Now, what ends up happening during the fight is he ends up spitting out the Fat Majin Buu late, which is referred to as Mr. Buu. Now, obviously, this Fat Buu is not the same as the previous Fat Buu. Even though he has a lot of stamina, because he no longer has the evil inside of him, he does take a hit in power. So understand that this Fat Buu is not as strong as the old one, but he still has a lot of stamina, which is why Kid Buu has a hard time finishing him off, even though he's toying with him throughout most of the fight. This happens in manga chapter 512, Dragon Ball Z episode 282, and of course this happens when Mr. Satan's life is at risk. That's when the original Mr. Buu comes out, which would end up being the Buu that would stick around and be a good guy for Dragon Ball Super, GT, and all the other stories.
Yay.
So then we have the one that only appears in the anime and only appears in flashback form, and that is Majin Buu absorbing the South Kaioshin, aka Buff Buu. So what ends up happening here is during a flashback in Dragon Ball Z episode 279, we find out that, Majin Buu absorbed and killed a lot of the Supreme Kais, the Kaioshins. Well, one of the ones he fought was the South Kai, or South Supreme Kai, that is Southern Kaioshin. And when he absorbs him, he gets this really big buff version of himself. And shortly after that, he absorbs the Dai Kaioshin, the Grand Supreme Kai, and ends up getting the overweight kind of fat Majin Buu body.
From him.
Fat and jolly Kaioshin changes his shape. And this to me is interesting because that theory of Buu absorbing people and resembling the strongest fighter is out the window here because many feel that South Kai was stronger than the Grand Kai. However, that does not appear to be the case because recently in the Dragon Ball Super manga we found out that Grand Kai did have more power, but it was of course sacrificed by him to seal up mortals. So Grand Supreme Kai is still the strongest of the Supreme Kais, and it definitely shows here.
That's cool that they've done that in the manga and stuck with the story.
But his body, Buu's body, reflected that. Plus, of course, the goodness inside of Grand Supreme Kai, because he is an innocent, good character, sort of helped shape who Fat Buu would become. So that, to me, is always interesting. I wish we saw more of the Buff Buu, but that's pretty much it. Then we have Oob. I don't want to go too in-depth into this character because he's not
see much
really
about him at all.
form. He is a reincarnation of Kid Buu. Goku asked Enma
He said,
Dio,
I
King
would
Yama,
like you to come back someday.
resurrect Buu, but make him good. He wants to fight Buu again. So he did reincarnate Buu, but not as a Majin or as whatever he is, a demonic being, as a human being who is Oob, who has a family and whatnot, parents, but he has a secret power inside of him, and that is, of course, the power of Majin Buu.
Which have they touched upon in the manga again?
Chapter 518 and Dragon Ball Z episode 289. So that, of course, would be Goku's final student that we know of. Now, you could also talk about Majin Buu and Oob fusing in GT. Mr. Buu, the surviving Fat Buu, reveals to Oob that if they fuse, they might be able to get an incredible power-up, and that's pretty much what happens. Oob fuses with Majin Buu, kind of a reverse absorption type of thing, and not only inherits the ability to change people into candy, but has an incredible power-up, and actually goes toe-to-toe with Baby Vegeta. So this is the strongest version of Oob that we've seen. Some fans have called him Majin Oob, some have called him Majoob, but
Majin Oob
there
sounds
is no
better.
official name for him except for Oob after absorbing Buu, and even that's not really official, so call him whatever you want. This is the highest we ever saw Oob. Of course, Oob's name is based on taking Buu and making it backwards, but I'm sure everybody knew that, so there's no point even bringing that up. Anyways, that's going to do it for this transformation guide. Every single form of Buu that's out there, and, well, technically, There is, like, Fat Skinny Buu, which is
From
Fat
Super,
Buu after
yeah.
losing weight in Dragon Ball Super, but we only saw it for one episode, and it was more of a
It was
gag
cool
than
to see.
anything. But yeah, that is a form of Buu, if you want to count it as that, even though he wound up gaining all the weight back anyways.
Falling
So
asleep,
what can you do? That's it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.
That was cool. Nice little recap on all the transformations and whatnot. I never thought about that. The antenna getting longer because he's absorbed Super Saiyan 3 hair and all that, and obviously fighting Gohan with Piccolo inside him is going to be advantageous because he's going to know how he fights in that. I know, yeah. Little things you don't really think about until someone else points it out, and then it makes so much sense. So anyway, yeah, that was cool. Thank you guys very much for watching. What did you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch or discuss in future videos. I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys next time.